and it's a bit of a model I want to kind of propose for this as well. And it's I've stolen it a little bit, and it's from a concept. Hopefully, we're all aware of something called big data. I think it was in the news, and it was a very topical word a few years ago. There's data, and then there's big data. And the way you differentiate the two is using a model called the 3 V's. Now, the 3 V's are variety, velocity, and volume. Now, if we look at volume first, volume is how much stuff are we consuming? So am I consuming loads and doing very little creativity, and am I happy with that? So the volume side of these 3 V's really relates to the ratio we were talking about in the last podcast. Variety, how many different types of data or how many different types of things am I consuming? And it's an interesting one here. Am I actively, when I'm consuming stuff, am I listening, reading things I like? Am I staying in my echo chamber? Or am I trying to push out my echo chamber? Am I trying to bring divergent thought and divergent thinking into the things I'm consuming? And I think that might be a key point when it comes to creativity, and that creativity being the creation of novel things. So if I just listen to the same things and read the same books all the time, then I'm likely to create the same stuff, right? So bringing a bit of divergence into what I'm consuming through variety is key. And then velocity, which in the big data world is how fast is data coming into the system. And if you take Facebook as an example, they'll be having a big data operation, and they'll be streaming data. So data is flying into their systems as a constant stream all the time, like probably petabytes and petabytes of data. For us, for this model, I think it's more around velocity is, are you allowing yourself to absorb what you're consuming? So am I reading a book? Am I skim reading it? I'm like, oh, I smashed it, done a book in 2 days, great. Or am I actually, same book, taking a week, 2 weeks to read it, but journaling about it, noting it down, tabbing pages, studying it, right? So that's the difference. I've consumed the book, but in 2 very different ways. One, I perhaps have studied it and allowed myself to absorb it in a slightly slower fashion versus a higher velocity fashion where I might be just skim reading it and trying to get through it.